This is Ticket 760, KTKR San Antonio, your home for sports. Guaranteed human. Make us the #1 preset in your car and on the free new and improved iHeartRadio app. This is the starting lineup. Here's your host, Carl Schoening.
Welcome into the starting lineup. I'm your host, Carl Schoening, starting at the voice coming through your speakers. LG in the starting lineup with me this morning as the technical director. The Cavs need to bounce back in Madison Square Garden. Aaron Rodgers is calling it a career, but first we are in San Antonio, Texas, and we have to talk about last night's Spurs game. Even though I don't really want to, LG. It was a tough game for the Spurs on so many levels. First off, we'll start right where we started in Game 1. No De'Aaron Fox. He continues to recover from his ankle soreness. Hopefully we see him as the series shifts back to San Antonio, but the Spurs are down one guard there. And then Dylan Harper has to leave the game with a right leg injury. He was out for the remainder of the game, so the Spurs had to close out the game without two of their point guards. And on top of that, it was just a football match. Football game broke out there in Oklahoma City when Wembanyama was being guarded by Isaiah Hartenstein, and it makes me eat my words in a way because yesterday I said that Isaiah Hartenstein was unplayable on the court at the same time as Wemby. Well, if they're going to allow Isaiah Hartenstein to, I will concede, be essentially what he's supposed to be, a big 7-foot bruising interior player, but get away with hooks and fouls and grabs, then yeah, Isaiah Hartenstein can play 48 minutes. He did get in a little bit of foul trouble, but he was called for one foul every 10 that he committed, it felt like. And this isn't just sour grapes. This is, I'll admit, the little bit of sour grapes. If the Spurs win, I would be saying that was in spite of this, but Victor Wembanyama almost forced out of the paint because the officials were not going to call any fouls that looked pretty serious off ball there. And social media was just lit up with tons of highlights if you want to see what I'm talking about. I will say this, a couple things here about this game. The Oklahoma City Thunder, do give them credit. They bounced back. I thought SGA was great. I don't think that he maybe flopped as much as a lot of Spurs fans were thinking. There's a few times where it really did feel like there was legitimate contact that I can see why Spurs fans might have felt that he was sort of trying to sell the foul, but there was contact there. But I think it almost goes down to, and this is no offense to Jordan McLaughlin at all, he actually came in and played great, but the fact that he had to sort of play reserve minutes because there was no De'Aaron Fox and no Dylan Harper really shows you that the Spurs had to go down, and no team is going to really point to one team having more injuries than the other because also J-Dub leaves the game for Oklahoma City with his hamstring injury being re-aggravated. And that's almost where we start. Jalen Williams only plays 7 minutes, and we just have to start with the injuries. And it's never fun when there's injuries because you want to see everybody out there at their full strength. You don't want to see someone like Isaiah Joe have to play because J-Dub is out, but Isaiah Joe does play. He sells a flop call that cost the Spurs 3 points because he bumps into Harrison Barnes and then goes flying 5 feet. That's something that's gone viral. That's something that the league should fine him and announce the fine. But that $5,000 fine is a very fair trade for 3 points in a big playoff game. But I do want to say that the Oklahoma City Thunder were ready to not go down 2-0. They bounced back. They had 3 starters in double figures and 4 bench players in double figures. And Alex Caruso continues to be a thorn in the Spurs' side. Not necessarily a better game than his game 1, but he had 17 points on 5 of 7 shooting. And I also think that Jared McCain was really good, as he wasn't as efficient, but he had 12 points on 3 of 9 shooting from behind the three-point line. And if those guys are going to knock down their threes at an efficient clip, that hurts the Spurs' strategy of SGA getting the ball out of his hands where basically he'll pass to an open jump shooter. And of SGA's 9 assists, a good chunk of those were the Spurs decided to bring a double team to get the ball out of his hand. And it was a simple square up and shoot for Oklahoma City shooters. San Antonio falls 122-113. Series tied up at a game apiece. Series comes back to San Antonio this weekend for game 3. That'll be Friday night, tomorrow night at the Frost Bank Center, and then Sunday for Game 4. And LG, I want to bring you in here because you were there too. I don't know how much you actually got to watch the game because you were working, but it does feel like the Thunder weren't going to get swept, and they ensured that Game 5 will be necessary. So that'll be, if I'm doing my days right, Tuesday back in Oklahoma City. And if you're the Spurs, you just got to dust yourself off, come back to San Antonio, rest as much as you can, hope that De'Aaron Fox and Dylan Harper are good to go for Game 3, and try and go back to Oklahoma City with a chance to close this series out by taking care of business at home.
Exactly, and that's the benefit of taking Game 1 in Oklahoma City. You do still have home court advantage. If you can just win out at home, I called it earlier this week, Spurs in 6. Win it at home, take care of home court, and you get this series. The Spurs have the second best all-time playoff, well, I wouldn't say all-time, second best playoff record at home since they moved to the Frost Bank Center, only second to Boston. And if Spurs can do that, then it's a series win. And let's talk about the watch party last night. I was there working, and you were in attendance as well. And I've never been to a watch party at the Frost Bank Center, and it was loud.
Yeah, it felt like a real home game.
It felt like a real home game. They do all the theatrics during the timeouts. They had Roland, the PA announcer, out there doing all his, his typical two-shot stuff and Spurs ball, turnover, all that stuff. And they would play, the defense and stuff like that, and turn down Reggie Miller and Tarico and the guys. So it felt like a home game, even though it was on the road. They lower the Jumbotron down as low as they can get it to kind of get it eye level with you. And what a great experience. Good job for the Spurs for putting that on for the fans. No offense to The Rock. I'm sure The Rock is a great experience as well over there at La Cantera, but Frost Bank Center was rocking last night despite the loss.
Yeah, it was a great experience. I appreciate you bringing that up, and I should have asked you before the show how much of that you actually got to watch, because you were busy making sure that you were doing your job, and I'm sure that everybody in their jobs wanted to also watch the game, but you guys had to actually focus on work. But I do want to bring that up. Big shout out to the Spurs for a great atmosphere at the Frost Bank Center, where Dylan Emery and I did our pre-game and post-game shows. I would say that it felt like a home game, and I thought that the energy was great. The biggest thing that I loved was that it seemed like they got a direct feed from NBC, so they were not on a delay that you would typically have with television, and I was able to listen to Dan Weiss while watching the big screen, and that doesn't happen on away games because usually there's a delay, and Dan is possessions ahead of the television feed. So that was actually very nice that the Spurs had a direct feed to NBC. On that note, I could not hear what was going on in the broadcast, and it seemed like Dylan Harper was interested in coming back into the game, and he was told not to come back into the game. And I am okay with that because it shows that the Spurs are thinking long-term. They don't want him to go back into the game and be out for the rest of the series potentially. They want to, handle that. I will say that I think the Spurs possibly win this game if Dylan Harper can come back in and be similar to the Dylan Harper that he was in his first 25 minutes of the game. Harper finishes with 12 points on 50% shooting and 3 assists. And without Dylan Harper and without De'Aaron Fox, Steph Castle is basically tasked to be the full-time showrunner. And I need to get this out of the way because this is not necessarily a hot take, but maybe this reframe of how you should look at Steph Castle, Spurs fans, will get you to stop shooting me messages, DMs, tweets, whatever, about his turnovers. He is the modern-day Russell Westbrook. He is a freak athlete. He'll get after it on defense. He finishes above the rim. He can get to the rim downhill. He can make shots within 15 feet. He goes for the home run, deep ball, but I didn't see the defender INT passes that maybe drive you a little bit crazy sometimes when they result in turnovers, but they're high-risk, high-reward playmaking passes. And I get that his 9 turnovers and 20 turnovers through the first 2 games have been a frustration point and maybe a point all season, but Steph Castle is the motor that makes this team go sometimes. He finishes with 25 points, 8 assists, 9 turnovers, a steal, and 5 rebounds. But the Spurs need Steph Castle to be that involved, and without the other 2 point guards as a playmaker, the Spurs just basically will have to live with those turnovers. Steph Castle probably would also like a mental break where he could play off ball and not have to be concerned about being the primary distributor, which Dylan Harper and De'Aaron Fox could alleviate a lot of pressure if they were healthy and playing. But without D-Fox in that game 1, Steph Castle, I still thought, stepped up. He had the unfortunate triple-double of points, assists, and turnovers, but he did have the double-double with points and assists, meaning that he's really out there making plays, and sometimes those plays end up being turnovers, and you have to live with that. But it's very much like Manu Ginobili. He plays a lot like Russell Westbrook in those senses where you're going to have a really good player who just maybe takes risks. And that's part of having somebody who's a very creative playmaker / scorer like a Nikola Jokic or a Luka Doncic, who goes out there and sometimes you see what they were thinking on that pass, but they just maybe didn't quite see the person that ended up intercepting or deflecting the pass, and you have to sort of live with that because you can't telegraph passes in the NBA. That's an even more surefire way to get your ball turned over is if you start to telegraph passes. So Steph Castle, I think he's a phenomenal playmaker, but sometimes those turnovers do drive players or fans crazy. And I just say you have to live with the experience. If you get mad at it, that's on you. I don't necessarily get mad at it. It's just an unfortunate byproduct of having such a high usage playmaker that makes probably the right play more often than not, but it does result in 9 turnovers. That's not necessarily what lost the game for the Spurs last night, but it certainly is something more to dive into a little bit later. I have plenty more notes on Spurs and Thunder. Want to get into those when we come back on the starting lineup, but 122-113, bottom line, Oklahoma City does what they need to do and bounce back, because if you go down 2-0 coming back to San Antonio, this series is most likely over in 5. Probably a gentleman's sweep, possibly a real sweep, but Oklahoma City at least makes things interesting coming back to San Antonio for Friday night's game. Just hope everybody, whether it's J-Dub, D-Fox, or Dylan Harper, are all okay and ready to play for Friday, especially Wemby. Man, I know he finished the game and all that, but we got to talk about that officiating on the other side of this break here, as the Spurs, very much like the weather, the Spurs fans are feeling a little gloomy, a little thunderstorm angry, a little bit of rain coming down. Might be tears for Spurs fans, but you know what? We bounce back and we play game 3 tomorrow night. Talk about some of the adjustments the Spurs need to make on the other side of the break. Spurs fans, it's playoff time in San Antonio. Get in the spirit with Swish, a new Spurs-themed song produced by Warchief featuring Troy Matthews, Big Roddy, and Ice Villa. The perfect soundtrack for this playoff run.
Watch for Wemby in the middle as he's leading all the blocks, giving go for Sella Barnes as they beat the shot clock.
Streaming now on all platforms. Swish by the Warchief. And as always, go Spurs go.
It's time to warm up that scoreboard and get ready to bring home the win with Specs. Specs has you covered with lower prices on all your favorite fan fuel. From craft beer, rare spirits, and world-class wine to chips, dips, and gourmet finer foods. And with same-day delivery when you order online or through the app, Specs is your MVP for the biggest score of the game. At Specs, the fun starts here.
Here's to you, cheers to savings.
Got a DWI? Don't wait. What you do next matters. Not all classes are accepted by Texas courts. Before you pay, make sure it's state approved and live. Alamo Center has helped Texans for over 30 years complete their court-ordered DWI and drug education classes live and instructor-led. No pre-recorded videos. Real instructors, real support. Classes fill up fast. Secure your spot today. Speak to a live person now. Call 210-824-5537 or visit alamocenter.org. Alamo Center. The road back starts here.
With iHeart, everything you hear is guaranteed human. That's why 78% of listeners trust their favorite radio host's product recommendations. If you manage a business or need to drive sales, that trust goes a long way. Call 844-844-iHeart. Again, that's 844-844-iHeart.
Lighting has a bigger impact on your home than you might think. I'm George Salinas with Absolute Power Electrical Contractors. From sleek recessed lighting to modern LED upgrades, we transform your home's interior into something brighter, safer, and more energy efficient. We install lighting that fits how you live today. Call 210-904-1521 or visit absolute-pwr.com to schedule your free estimate. Absolute Power Electrical Contractors, at your service.
On Plus Nicotine Pouches present Comfort Chronicles. A 10 o'clock tea time. How comfortable. You show up in stretchy shorts, a breathable tee, and maybe no socks.
Let the dogs breathe.
While others sweat in pleated khakis, you're in your comfort zone bombing drives. And in your pocket, On Plus Nicotine Pouches. The softest pouch on the planet. Buy a can at onnicotine.com. Products for tobacco consumers 21 years of age or older. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Hey guys, this is Jamie from Black Swan Yoga San Antonio, and we would like to invite you to join our Summer 75 Challenge. It's running from June 1st to August 31st. Commit to taking 75 classes this summer, and you'll be entered to win yoga for life. This is more than a challenge. It's all about building community. If you're new to the studio, jump in on our summer sale starting May 22nd. The first month is half off of our OG rate, making the first month $44. You can't beat that. We can't wait to flow with you and hope you crush it on your challenge.
Hey, San Antonio sports fans, imagine your business scoring big with thousands of passionate listeners who are already fired up about local sports. Right now, you're one of thousands tuned into Ticket 760. This is the raw power of live radio, immediate, loyal, and impossible to scroll past. The starting lineup is looking for sponsors who want direct access to this engaged audience. Sponsors also get professional social media production included. Shoot us an email at thestartinglineupshow@gmail.com. Team up with the starting lineup on Ticket 760.
Hey guys, it's us, the Jonas Brothers. I'm Joe.
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Nick. And guess what? We created our own podcast called Hey Jonas.
We invented a podcast?
Well, we didn't invent it. We just contributed to it.
We're the first people to do podcasts.
We get to ask other people questions because we're sick and tired of being asked questions.
Well, sick and tired is a strong way to put it, but, you know.
Tired and sick.
Tired and sick.
Listen to Hey Jonas on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Follow Hey Jonas and start listening on the free iHeartRadio app today.
The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 commercial-free original stations waiting for you to explore right now, like Cross Country. Cross Country is the sound of Americana blending country, rock, and America's greatest songwriters. Bob Dylan and Bonnie Raitt to Chris Stapleton and Zach Bryan. Open the free iHeartRadio app, search Cross Country, and listen now. Free never sounded so good.
Your ticket for the best Spurs talk. Back to the starting lineup.
Starting lineup on Ticket 760 here in San Antonio, Texas. So, of course, we talk Spurs talk. I'm your host, Carl Schoening. You can get in touch with me on Instagram and X at OnAirCarl. That is Carl with a K, at OnAir, Karl. You can also get in touch with our audio and visual technician, LG. He is at DJ LG on all of the reasonable platforms. How else can people get involved with the show, LG?
You can jump into the chat here on YouTube. We are broadcasting this show live on our YouTube page at Starting Lineup Live. At Starting Lineup Live is also the handle for Instagram and Facebook. Twitter, X, you can hit us up, TSL760 on X. And then we also have a method for tipping. If you would like to tip this show and help support us financially, we love caffeine because we work early in the morning. BuyMeACoffee.com/thestartinglineuplive is the way to get to us on the coffee tip, and you can leave a comment there as well. We'll be sure to read and react to everything that you fans have to say.
It was very much a I need a coffee day. I woke up actually a little bit later. I was testing what time I could maybe wake up and then still get here in a reasonable amount of time. 4:45, LG.
Yeah, you're testing it all right.
No.
Sure.
I know. I slide in here at around 5:50. And
that's 5:55 more like it.
no, you're spotting me. You got to spot me for those 5 minutes that I actually am in the driveway. And
okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
when I actually parked in your driveway, it was 5:50. But this morning, I probably snuck in an extra 15 minutes of just being on the bed, but my phone on the other side with 2 alarms set.
Yeah,
because,
25 snooze presses.
Well, just the one. Actually, no, I woke up and turned off the alarm and tried to move, but sometimes your legs don't want to function that early in the morning, being like just ripped away from REM sleep. So I was, I think that was part of it. The other part of it was I wasn't as energized to talk Spurs today because I just feel like last night they didn't let Victor Wembanyama play basketball. And I love it when Wemby is allowed to play basketball. And this goes back to the Minnesota series where there were just times where the spectrum of the foul was changed because the opponents were getting more physical with Wemby than most players would be allowed to get physical with other players. I feel like what Isaiah Hartenstein was doing to Victor Wembanyama last night, you can look it up on any social media. There are highlight reels of what iHeart did last night. And I'm not talking about the media company that employs me. I'm talking about Isaiah Hartenstein.
Is that his nickname, iHeart?
Yeah.
God.
Because there's 2 Isaiahs. They have Isaiah Joe.
Yeah.
And the thing is, he had probably the best game he'll have all series. Hartenstein finished with 27 minutes played, which was more than double what he played in game 1. 4 of 8 from the field. All of his shots were high-arcing push shots that you sort of have to live with. He can make those for sure, but that's definitely one of those shots that I would almost be all right with him taking. He grabs 13 rebounds, commits 4 fouls officially, but there were several more, and he finished with 10 points. So a big double-double for him as he proves that he can play if the officials allow him to play physical. However, last night in the post-game interview walking off the court, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who also had a pretty good bounce-back game, 50% shooting for 30 points and 9 assists, and a perfect 6 of 6 from the free throw line, which is a low number, but the Spurs do a good job of defending without fouling. So, I am somebody who will say that if you dislike SGA, I sort of understand it. You can sports dislike him. I don't understand disliking him. That's a bit too far of an exaggeration.
I just don't like the fact that he seems to have forgot how to land on his feet after taking a jump shot.
He explained one time, and I think it's the same thing with Wemby. He feels like his center of gravity is so high that he needs to fall onto the hardwood to land safely sometimes. That's his excuse, and I sort of understand it because Wemby is similar aspect, but obviously Wemby is a full foot taller. But I do think that last night he gave us a very stream of consciousness. I'm tired from playing 2 physical games, game 1 and game 2. And in his post-game press conference, I thought he gave a lot of really good comments. However, he was asked about Isaiah Hartenstein's play and performance, and here's what he had to say after the game on the NBC broadcast.
You all made a pivot defensively hard on Wemby. What kind of impact did Isaiah have tonight?
I'm not sure if it was good, to be honest. Yeah.
Break that down for me.
Say again?
Break that down for me. Why was his impact not good?
It was all right. It was good. We wanted to switch it up, give him different looks. That's what it's about. When you play against good players, you got to switch it up. Make sure the rhythm's not the same, and we did that tonight.
Way to backpedal.
Yeah, SGA said in his post-game press conference, even backpedaling a little more, that he didn't understand what the question was. However, I will say that SGA in that moment was very authentic, and he was thinking that what Isaiah Hartenstein did in Game 2, he is not going to be allowed to do the rest of the series because essentially he was just grabbing and holding Wemby so much that I was scared that he was going to maybe break an elbow or twist out a shoulder socket, things that you have to really worry about when a 7-foot, 250-pound man is just getting away with assault on the hardwood. And this is something that I think SGA noticed, and he was happy in the moment that they won the game, but when legitimately asked and given his impression, he said, it feels like it might not have been good. And I think he meant in the long run, because this is going to be tape that the Spurs send to the league, and the league absolutely needs to protect Victor Wembanyama, because there were times where I felt that Wemby would have been well in his right to throw an elbow, something that could have potentially gotten him ejected the game just to protect himself.
Well, hopefully he doesn't, because if he throws an elbow and gets a flagrant 2, that's 4 flagrant points in the postseason, which is an automatic suspension. So
yeah,
let's hope he doesn't do that, doesn't overreact to the situation there. But this goes back to the Minnesota series. Rudy Gobert was implementing the same strategy and was not getting called for fouls as well. Grab the off arm of Wemby every single time. And it happened so many times without a whistle in the Minnesota series. And iHeart is just taking a page out of the Minnesota strategy. Hold Wemby down, hold his arm until the refs finally decide to make a call, which so far in 2 series already, they haven't been making that call.
And if somebody wants to be lame and say that it's playoff basketball, I'll say that it's not basketball at all, because that is very high grounds for someone to get injured. And I get Luke Cornett's not his personality, but I feel like the Spurs almost need an enforcer of types to play out there with Wemby. And when they see that kind of stuff happening, they just throw their body into him and break up the physicality by being physical themselves and create some space that way. Wemby, when he posts up, doesn't really have anybody in the interior that can kind of do that. I don't mean this in any way that the Spurs made a mistake, because I think they did right by him, but I felt like Jeremy Sohan could have been used as his instigator role last night, just to sort of get in the face of other players and say, hey, I'm not going to let you do that to my star big man. Obviously, Jeremy Sohan's no longer on the team, and that's not something that I think Luke Cornett, or if you just insert someone like a Mason Plumlee, I don't think that that's necessarily going to be something you see.
I don't feel like he's an enforcer type. So,
at a certain point, it's almost about just having a big body that's going to go out there and answer physicality with physicality. But they're not going to throw Plumlee out there because he hasn't played all series in serious minutes. He hasn't played all playoffs. He's not a rotation player, so it would almost be obvious.
Yeah, and it's not like the refs aren't witnessing this right in front of them, because if you look at all the defensive highlights, the foul highlights that Hardenstein had last night, I mean, they're blatant fouls, and the referee is staring right at them.
Yeah, and
especially the hair pull on Stephon Castle. I mean, it couldn't have been any more clearer for the official to see that, and did not blow the whistle.
So yeah, I agree with that one. You can see that they were looking right at him. I also think that the offensive foul that was called on Harrison Barnes, where Isaiah Joe flung himself into the shooter.
What happened to the flopping call? It hasn't been used at all this year.
It needs to be called retrospectively there, and they need to make examples of players by suspending them. That's not something that is in the rule book within their power, but if something like that, where it's just extremely obvious, happens, you need to just suspend the player if it's not called on the court, because
Harrison Barnes pulled a Mortal Kombat finishing move on him.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. But I will say this: it wasn't the reason the Spurs lost the game. It certainly would have helped their cause if the game were called a little bit more like a game of basketball should be called. But the Spurs commit 21 turnovers that turn into 27 Oklahoma City points. While Oklahoma City does a great job taking care of the basketball, they only turn it over 10 times, and it turns into 10 Spurs points. Second chance points, even though it's relatively even between the two of them, it was a 17-point second chance, 17 offensive rebounds grabbed by the Oklahoma City Thunder game that I think helped out their cause. And I do want to give Oklahoma City a good amount of credit on their game plan offensively. They went right at Victor Wembanyama to show them that they're going to go back to their game plan of not being intimidated or timid by going to the rim. And it seemed like part of their thought process was they were going to try and get Wemby in foul trouble. And a lot of people on the internet were mad that the Spurs had to use their challenge and then their successful challenge, bonus challenge, to both get clean fouls from Victor Wembanyama stricken from the record and the call changed. 100% with y'all on that. It's not a perfect rule, but at least they do allow those challenges. If this were in a non-challengeable world, Wemby would be out of the game, and very happy that they at least were able to admit that they were wrong and take those Wembanyama fouls away, but also mad that those fouls that were subsequently not called ended up costing the Spurs their challenge in a tight game where maybe a couple times it would have been nice to have had a challenge, but I agree with the challenge calls that the Spurs made. I just hate that they had to challenge them. And Devin Vassell, great game for Devin Vassell. 22 points, 38 minutes, 50% shooting, 7 of 14 from the field, 6 of 12 from 3. Made both of his free throws, 4 rebounds and an assist with a block. Devin Vassell, great game. Shame that it had to go to waste. Victor Wembanyama, man, if they let him play a little bit, his 21 and 17 with 6 assists and 4 blocks is probably a 30-20 game, but alas, it is not. And the Spurs, well, they at least went up to Oklahoma City and did what they wanted to do. Hopefully Dylan Harper's okay. Hopefully De'Aaron Fox is okay. Hopefully any of those bumps and bruises picked up in game 2 where the physicality was escalated a little bit will heal for the Spurs. And I hope J-Dub is okay on the Oklahoma City side, because I don't want somebody like that to not play because it benefits the Spurs. I want everybody to be healthy, and I want it to be a good old-fashioned playoff game with real basketball and real officiating. But overall, we got to give Thunder credit for bouncing back. They do find a way to win, and they do take advantage of the Spurs' strategy, which was to get the ball out of SGA's hand, and then those responses, the shooters got to shoot. Alex Caruso with 17 points, Cason Wallace with 12. AJ Mitchell had his best game of the series after bouncing back from a poor game 1 with 10 points, and Jared McCain, another one of those guys there to grab the ball and shoot it. And Jay Will, the taller of the Jalen Williams, coming off the bench with 6 points, knocked down a couple big threes to help space the floor for the rest of the game anytime he was out there. So Oklahoma City does a great job. They even up the series at a game apiece. And we head back to San Antonio for game 3, where I know the Spurs crowd is going to be unforgiving towards these officials that will be coming in tomorrow. And I get that these aren't the same officials that officiated game 1 and 2, but it's going to be a relentless crowd, especially on any call they slightly disagree with. We are going to have those refs hear an earful and have to pay for the egregiousness of game 2 in game 3. And hopefully those refs understand it and they keep the game a little bit more in check, because they did not call game 2 the same way they called game 1. Wemby was getting those whistles in game 1. He was not getting those whistles in game 2. That's unfortunate, but the officials, they call it the way they call it, and you have to adjust. I had a freshman B team coach who explained it perfectly to me. Anytime I thought that I was fouled and they weren't calling it, he said, it's a foul because they called the foul. And as annoying as it is, that's actually very much the case in playoff basketball, because you can argue that they call a foul 90% of the possessions, but they only call fouls on, say, 30-something% of the possessions, because what a spectrum of a foul is changes a little bit depending on the officiating crew. Last night, they let them get physical with Wemby, and Wemby couldn't fully get into his interior game, which is a shame. I love it when Wemby's able to finish above the rim and get some shots close inside. There were times where Wemby looked so tired, and only Wemby can really get away with this. It looked like he was sort of missing on purpose so he could relocate for an offensive rebound and tap it in. He did do that a few times last night, and then he did it a few times and wasn't successful. But hopefully the Spurs are able to get the benefit of the whistle back in San Antonio in game 3 and 4 and somehow have a chance to close it out game 5 in Oklahoma City, maybe close it out in San Antonio game 6. It would be much nicer to have that 3-1 cushion going back into the now necessary game 5 in Oklahoma City. We'll shift gears and talk NFL when we come back. Aaron Rodgers decides to make the announcement. 2 announcements, actually. We got to hear the other one on the other side of this break that we've all been curious and waiting for. Talk Steelers next? Yeah, we'll talk Steelers next here on the starting lineup on Ticket 760.
On May 21st, 2014, the Spurs routed the Oklahoma City Thunder 112-77 in Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals at the Frost Bank Center to take a 2-0 lead in the best-of-7 series. Tony Parker scored 22 points, while Danny Green made 7 3-pointers and added 21. Tim Duncan had 14 points and 12 rebounds, while Manu Ginobili and Boris Diaw each had 11 points off the bench in a second consecutive Spurs rout. That's today's Spurs Flashback. I'm Dan White.
Spurs family, the lights drop, a deafening roar rushes over you. The silver screen awakens. Turn your life script into an epic movie with our 2025-26 ticket membership presented by RBFCU. Built-in flexibility, members-only events, fan shop discounts, and a guaranteed seat to pure cinema. Reserve your memories today. Text SPURS to 210-444-5940 or visit spurs.com/memberships for more info. Season presented by HEB.
President Trump doesn't trust backstabbing rhino Chip Roy because Chip Roy betrayed MAGA. Roy backed Liz Cheney and pushed to impeach President Trump.
President of the United States deserves universal condemnation for impeachable conduct.
Then Chip Roy helped illegal aliens avoid deportation. And Roy even supported perverts and predators by siding with Gavin Newsom and the trans lobby to push transgender surgeries for children. When we fought back, Roy told MAGA voters,
"You can kiss my ass."
MAGA Mays Middleton stood with President Trump against perverts and predators, stopped radical transgender surgeries for kids, banned men from girls' sports, kicked trans perverts out of women's restrooms, and MAGA Mays banned radical Muslim groups from buying property in Texas and is stopping Sharia law in Islamic enclaves. That's why President Trump called Mays a MAGA champion with a conservative record that is second to none. MAGA Mays Middleton for Texas Attorney General.
Political ad paid for by the Mays Middleton campaign.
Before they can cheer your name, you've got to make one. At Spurs Sports Academy, we're helping young athletes do just that with year-round basketball camps and tournaments for kids of all ages. It's all part of our mission of inspiring lifelong memories and building character through competition. To find your way to play, text HOOPS to 210-444-5021 or head over to spurs.com/sportsacademy.
We never have to worry about hard water in our home thanks to the Connecticut of San Antonio Quality Water Softener. Get quality water in your home with Connecticut of San Antonio. Call them now at 210-656-PURE or visit connecticusa.com.
iHeart's Yacht Rock Radio goes commercial free all Memorial Day weekend. Smooth sailing with the greatest from the 70s and 80s. Just open the free iHeart app, search Yacht Rock, and start listening now.
Hey guys, do you want male performance in the bedroom and do you want it now? Get it in 47 seconds or less. For the first time, you can have instant male enhancement. Introducing Knox 47, the topical male enhancement that works in 47 seconds or less. Satisfaction guaranteed. Finally, after years of scientific research, our proprietary formula will allow you to perform in the bedroom like never before. Just imagine that little blue pill on steroids. No reason to settle and wait when you can get instant performance now. Forget about pills and potions that make you wait hours or up to 30 days to work. That's yesterday's news. Knox 47 is brand new. The hottest thing for men. And you don't need a prescription. Call now and get your free supply for a limited time.
To find out how to get Knox 47 for free, call now. 800-677-1453. That's 800-677-1453. Free bottles for limited time. Call 800-677-1453. That's 800-677-1453.
Hi there, I'm John O'Hurley. You know our pets are beloved family members. But sadly, though, there are so many dogs that get euthanized every day due to the lack of funding. To give them a chance at adoption, I invite you to support Puppy Food Bank. Thanks to generous donors like you, all of the food sent to pet shelters from Puppy Food Bank never comes with a bill. So please go to puppyfoodbank.org and make a generous, caring $15 donation every month. Your donation will absolutely save pet lives.
I know what you want. A great experience when getting your new vehicle, hassle-free and upfront pricing, and we promise that at World Car Hyundai. Right now, get 0% financing on 2026 Hyundai Tucson's and Santa Fe's, plus no payments for 90 days. We have low rates on Elantras and Palisades too. Plus, every new vehicle comes with America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty and Hyundai Owner's Assurance. Shop online at World Car Hyundai North or WorldCarHyundaiSouth.com and experience the difference for yourself. World Car, for a lifetime.
With approved credit through HMF.
Strong coffee, stronger takes. Back to Carl Schoening in the starting lineup.
I have moved on to juice. I'm going to crack this caffeine juice open right now. Yes, this feels nice on my...
Yeah, what is that? Contains 1% juice or something like that?
50% juice.
Oh,
the other
okay.
50% is tea.
Oh, all right, that's a little better.
It's a brand that, I'll just go ahead and give V8 Energy a shout out. It's, the V8 juice.
I got you. So is it tomato juice?
No. It's, what is this? Strawberry banana.
All right.
It's a fruit and tea. I probably drink way too many of these. I think I buy like 24 for $14, and I go through 24 of them in a week, easy.
Okay, your heart rate's probably pumping right now. Yeah.
Well, what else is new? LG, I'm here for a good time, not a long time. I consume about 1,000 milligrams of caffeine a day. This is the starting lineup. I'm your host, Carl Schoening. LG is the other guy you hear as the starting technical director. And, LG, we talked about this just the other day on the show. I don't know if it was yesterday or 2 days ago, but we were talking about how is Aaron Rodgers' wife a figment of his imagination? And
no one had ever seen her.
No one had ever seen her. And a lot of people were thinking that she might have been like an ayahuasca trip gone bad that he continued to believe in. But no, turns out that for the first time, we are seeing in public Aaron Rodgers with his wife, Brittany Starlight Lazinski. They had a discreet wedding in early 2025. And congratulations to Aaron Rodgers. His wife is real. Not that he needs a fake wife or anything like that. He could probably be a bachelor for the rest of his life. But, it seems like he was happy with her. She is very hippie.
Yeah. And I actually tried to do an image search for her, and I only found 2 pictures. The one you sent me the other day and a before picture. Before she went full hippie, without the tattoos and the face tattoos and the arm sleeves and the dreadlocks.
Yeah, it looked like face tattoos. Was that your guess too?
Yeah. It looked like a chain across the forehead, a tattoo of a chain across the forehead there. And Starlight too. Maybe she's a fan of the boys.
Yeah, maybe. I will say that I'm a yogi as well, and
she does look very yogi.
Yeah, I didn't date this woman, but I think she was interested in me, and I had to kind of draw my own sort of, I guess, yogi line when I found out that her nickname was Moonchild.
Oh, okay.
And very commonly called Moonchild by her friends and family, and I'm sort of like, nothing wrong with that, but I just don't think the personalities matched up there, but it checks out there for Rodgers, who, I said we were going to talk Steelers here in this segment. I don't know much about the Steelers. They go 10-7 in their last season under Tomlin last year. They do sign Mike McCarthy, who was Aaron Rodgers' quarterback when he won a Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers, what feels like a lifetime ago. Oh, geez. What year was that? They do not have a championship on his Football Reference page here that I can see. I'll have to look it up real quick. Let me see. It was I can't see what year he was the Super Bowl. What is the Super Bowl XLV MVP? What year was that?
I don't know. I'm not good with Roman numerals once you get past, 10 or so.
Regardless, he's going to be 43 later this year. He announces his retirement as well. So not only does he show the world that his wife is real yesterday, he also tells the world this is his last season in football. Not sure we needed much confirmation of that, but good for Aaron Rodgers, as he will be calling it a career, and a Hall of Fame career at that. He was one of the best quarterbacks of all time. Only wins the one Super Bowl, whatever XLV Super Bowl is. Feels like, I want to say 2011 sounds right, but once you start getting anything pre-COVID, everything's a little jumbled up in my brain. Can't quite remember what years were which, but
45 XLV.
What year was that? Do you see it?
No, I just looked up the Roman numeral.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I do like Mike McCarthy. I thought that he got the short end of the stick on his way out of Dallas. It seemed like he only really left Dallas because he knew what was going to be the result every single year with Jerry Jones as the general manager. And as an Eagles fan, I just hope Jerry Jones lives forever.
2010 XLV.
So it was 2010. Yeah. I knew it was 11 seemed like it was even a little later than it was. 2010 was a long time ago. That was 16 years ago. If you think bringing in McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers from 2010 into 2026 is a good idea, well, there's worse ideas in football. And I will say that Aaron Rodgers seemed to still be somewhat of a NFL player, although he only played he played 16 games last year, goes 10-6. He missed a game, but man, I think that Aaron Rodgers, 43 years old before the end of the season. That's very impressive, also very concerning. So we'll have to see if Aaron Rodgers can finish the season. But I do think and I hope that he has a good season to go out. I don't think that they're going to be Super Bowl contenders, but that's why they roll with him as their starting quarterback, because they're not going to get a better quarterback in there. And that's sort of the issue with quarterbacks in the NFL. People can say what they want about Dak Prescott. It's going to be very hard for the Cowboys to find an upgrade over Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott sucks.
I think Dak is a good quarterback. I don't necessarily think he is a winning quarterback. And as we get further away, you sort of see what happens when somebody like a Mike McCarthy leaves, who makes that team just naturally successful, and maybe not as successful as someone like Jerry Jones would want, but definitely I think the right hire for the Steelers. Good for Aaron Rodgers for his career. Hopefully it ends on a high note.
Yeah, and congrats on the marriage and proving that there's life and existence there. And she kind of looks like she was dragged out of the Woodstock 99 mud pits.
It seems like she did not actually want to take that photo. She showed up in sweatpants and just a white shirt, and her dreadlocks hardly done. But I do appreciate that, because now we can stop speculating if Aaron Rodgers is just messing with us. Maybe he is still just messing with us, but I'm happy for him, because Rodgers is a weird guy. He dated Olivia Munn for a while there. Good for him. He dated Danica Patrick. His love life, just sort of some of these things that I probably know more about his love life than I should, has been very interesting in public, and people have always kind of wondered, is he a weird guy? He thinks that he's the smartest guy in the room whenever he comes in there, and sometimes he is in the football sense, for sure. He probably is, but I think that Aaron Rodgers has sort of started to realize he doesn't even need to give his opinion on things, which I think is a maturity thing for him, because there was certainly some things that if I were on a talk show anytime in the last 10 years and Aaron Rodgers was doing something non-football related, I would have to raise my eyebrows. But great for Aaron Rodgers. The NFL is a better place for him, and congratulations on his marriage being real. We wrap up the first hour of the starting lineup on the other side. Cavaliers and Knicks in Madison Square Garden tonight. A little brief preview on that before we shift back to Spurs talk at the 7 o'clock hour. This is the starting lineup on Ticket 760. Kids grow faster than paychecks and somehow need a whole new wardrobe every 6 months. Tidy Little Financial Consultants with juice boxes. At Kid to Kid Huebner Road, you can buy and sell gently used kids' clothes, toys, baby gear, shoes, cleats, and even score pro and college fan gear for your future MVP. Kid to Kid buys size preemie through 20 youth and pay cash or 20% or more in-store credit. Save money, clear the clutter, and shop sustainably. Located at Huebner and Northwest Military. Follow at Kid to Kid Huebner Road on Instagram. Kid to Kid Huebner Road. Buy, sell, save.
On Plus Nicotine Pouches present Comfort Chronicles. A 10 o'clock tea time. How comfortable. You show up in stretchy shorts, a breathable tee, and maybe no socks.
Let the dogs breathe.
While others sweat in pleated khakis, you're in your comfort zone bombing drives. And in your pocket, On Plus Nicotine Pouches. The softest pouch on the planet. Buy a can at onnicotine.com. Products for tobacco consumers 21 years of age or older. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
By texting 64000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Real Success. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at ourrealsuccess.com.
Do you want to learn how to make money flipping houses and acquiring rental properties right here in San Antonio without using your own money? You'll learn to flip houses and secure rental properties in your spare time to get on track towards real wealth building. We're offering a handful of motivated individuals the opportunity to attend our workshop right here in San Antonio for free. That's right, we'll give you 2 free tickets when you text FLIP to 64,000. San Antonio is the perfect market to flip houses and build rental income. Don't miss this opportunity. Come to a complimentary live 2-hour workshop next week right here in San Antonio and learn how to start making money flipping homes and building long-term wealth with rental properties. To get 2 free tickets, text FLIP to 64,000. Text in the next 10 minutes, and registrants will also receive a free copy of our Funding for Deals guide. Text FLIP to 64,000 for 2 complimentary tickets. Text FLIP to 64,000.
For more information about contests on this station, go to ticket760.com/rules.
In this edition of the Marketers Report, Monica Tam, head of brand media for DoorDash, discusses the power of audio influencers.
I think when you're tapping into voices like hosts and podcasters, you're being able to be part of that community, but in a very authentic way.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia connects marketers to the audiences, live conversations, and trusted influencers you need to grow. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartAdvertising.com.
Hey guys, this is Jamie from Black Swan Yoga San Antonio, and we would like to invite you to join our Summer 75 Challenge. It's running from June 1st to August 31st. Commit to taking 75 classes this summer, and you'll be entered to win yoga for life. This is more than a challenge. It's all about building community. If you're new to the studio, jump in on our summer sale starting May 22nd. The first month is half off of our OG rate, making the first month $44. You can't beat that. We can't wait to flow with you and hope you crush it on your challenge.
This whole surviving life thing is pretty tough. Some people use therapy to get through it, others use their friends, and some just fight their way through. Whatever season of life you're in right now, this podcast is for you. Hi, I'm Morgan from The Bobby Bones Show and host of the new podcast, Take This Personally. I'm bringing on my friends and experts to cover a variety of topics in hopes of us all feeling a little less alone in this crazy world. Nicole, the neuroscientist, will help us understand why we are the way we are.
Our anxious brain or our emotional brain will make us believe things that are not necessarily true.
Jared can relate to fighting our hardest battles.
I was living on couches. Sometimes I was in my car. I was just all over the place. I think about it now, how many people opened their doors to me.
We will explore what it means to change careers.
I think a lot of people put the pressure on their career to fulfill their passion, when your purpose or your passion and your calling can be something that's much deeper than just your job.
And how we can all find that special love in this wild dating era.
In order to find the right one, before you do that, you have to be able to identify the wrong one.
This podcast will be the guide you need to surviving life with a friend at your side.
If a friendship is about give and take, but we just want to give, and we're like, oh, I don't want to take, I don't want to impose, I don't want to inconvenience her, then you're not reaping the full benefits of friendship.
The first episode is out now. Download it wherever you get your podcast.
Listen on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and listen now.
Start your day with the starting lineup.
We appreciate you starting your day with the starting lineup. When I was outside, it was wet and nasty, and remnants of last night's rain were all over the I-1604 lanes, and I hope that everybody's staying safe out there on this Thursday. Yeah, it's Thursday. LG, it's getting hard, but we actually have a graduation that we're live streaming tonight, all the way up in Hutto. So I needed to remember that today was Thursday. I'm your host, Carl Schoening. LG is the technical director. Hope you guys are enjoying this morning's show of the starting lineup. If the Spurs somehow pulled that out, this might be another one of those 2-hour shows where we talk nothing but Spurs, but the Spurs didn't quite come away with the victory last night. Oklahoma City evens up the series at a game apiece in the Western Conference Finals. On the Eastern Conference side of things, the average ticket, or excuse me, no, I beg your pardon. The tickets as low as section on ESPN for the game in Madison Square Garden tonight. You want to take a guess, LG, what ESPN is saying tickets are as low as?
$1,000.
Yeah. Well, you're not far off. You're a little high. It's $725. So the cheapest ticket that you can get through the link on ESPN's, I guess, ticket links that they have when you preview the game says the cheapest ticket in Madison Square Garden tonight is $725. you want to go out with a buddy and sit in the last row of Madison Square Garden and the both of you drop $1,500 just to get into the door, well,
How about no?
yeah, I'll watch the game from the comfort of my couch. There's a lot more I can do with that $700. However, if you have that kind of disposable income and you want to go out and enjoy the game, that's cool on you, I guess. I've been up on that third deck of Madison Square Garden. It's a ways away from the court, but it is a fun atmosphere in MSG. I think they said there were a pair of courtside seats that went for $53,000 a piece. Man, must be nice. Anyhow, Cavaliers and Knicks. I don't necessarily think the Cavaliers win tonight because they're going to have to bounce back from such a ridiculous 44-11 run that the Knicks ended the game with and won in overtime in game 1. Cavaliers had a 22-point lead in the fourth quarter. That was their chance to win the series. Or, take a game in Madison Square Garden in the series. They can still win the series, Cavaliers, but they're going to have an uphill climb. And I think the Knicks probably ride off of that momentum. I was listening to some people's podcasts that were actually at the game, and they were saying that it felt like the Knicks fans were just so ready to celebrate every opportunity they got that they were back in the Eastern Conference Finals that it felt like the Knicks hit a game winner when they scored their 19th point. So I think that fan base in New York City is ready to go for a run to the finals. They were chanting, "We want Wemby" after game 1. Spurs have to win their series. Knicks have to win their series, but Spurs and Knicks would be great for the NBA. Cavaliers and OKC, I don't think it would draw much ratings. So hopefully the Spurs and Knicks can come out with their victory tonight in New York City. I should check the injury report. They did not submit the injury reports yesterday when I thought they should have. Either that or they just didn't have injury reports. Neither team had any injuries to report, but I don't think that's right. And it doesn't look like the Cavs and the Knicks have submitted injury reports, so maybe there's nothing to report on that side of things, which would be good for the Knicks because OG Anunoby was questionable going into game 1, and he proceeds to score 9 points in overtime to help the Knicks win that game 1 and come back from down 22 points in the fourth quarter. So we'll have to see. I don't necessarily think there's too many adjustments that New York needs to make. It's more the Cavaliers who just need to finish the game. I don't know what happened with them. They just lost focus there at the end of the game. I guess they thought that they were going to cruise to a win with 8 minutes left and up 22 points, but then Donovan Mitchell only scores 3 points in the overtime period and fourth quarter after having 26 points in the first 3 quarters. James Harden was just picked apart on defense. And even though it's not the best defense and still James Harden, who's just a step slow and not necessarily great at contesting shots, I thought he played hard defense. It's just that the confidence of being switched onto by James Harden was too easy for Jalen Brunson to get into a rhythm, and he propels the Knicks to a game 1 victory. And perhaps this will be a shorter series than it would have been otherwise because the Knicks, they smell blood, and I think they want to go up 2-0 heading back to Cleveland. The Cavaliers are going to have their work cut out for them when they return to Ohio. Spurs and Thunder, Game 3 tomorrow night. We'll recap a little bit of Game 2 and talk about what the Spurs need to do to adjust into Game 3 when we come back here on the starting lineup.
For over 25 years, BetOnline has been one of the most trusted names in online casino gaming. From the hottest slots and massive jackpots to all your favorite live table games, blackjack, poker, and more. Whatever your game, BetOnline Casino puts it all right at your fingertips. After your first deposit, unlock exclusive VIP rewards, level up bonuses, and cash boosts. Enjoy the freedom of online gaming where the action moves with you and every moment is yours. BetOnline. Bet on.
Hunting, fishing, real country music, vegans? Cable Smith reminding you to get your butt by the dial Saturday mornings from 7 to 8. It's the Lone Star Outdoor Show right here on Ticket 760.
A family office is a team built to handle the 3 biggest financial responsibilities a family faces: wealth management, tax strategy, and estate planning. Most firms only manage your investments and refer the rest out, hoping everyone stays aligned. At Trajan, we built something different. Your wealth, tax planning, and estate planning are handled together inside one firm under one roof. There's no guessing whether your CPA, advisor, and estate attorney are truly in sync, because our team works together every day on your behalf. When your financial life becomes more complex, your advice should become more coordinated, not more fragmented. One plan, one trusted team. Call Trajan today, 855-TRAJAN-1. That's 855-TRAJAN-1.
Trajan Wealth, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Additional services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures and accreditation at TrajanWealth.com.
This is the month to get a Kia from World Car Kia. And if you have a trade-in, we'd like to buy it, no matter the condition or what you owe.
Get 0% financing on new 2026 Kia Sportages and 0% on Sorrentos too. Get $2,000 customer cash on 2025 Tellurides. Get savings on new Kias all this month.
And at World Car Kia, every new vehicle comes with a lifetime warranty and lifetime roadside assistance. Visit our new store at Kia South or any of our stores in San Antonio or New Braunfels and save. Kia, World Car Kia.
With approved credit through KMF.
Pantalones Organic Tequila. Because tequila is fun. Pantalones.
Spurs fans, it's playoff time in San Antonio. Get in the spirit with Swish, a new Spurs-themed song produced by War Chief featuring Troy Matthews, Big Roddy, and Ice Villa. The perfect soundtrack for this playoff run.
Watch for Wemby in the middle as he's leading all the blocks, giving go Vassell the Barnes as they beat the shot clock.
Streaming now on all platforms. Swish by the War Chief. And as always, go Spurs go.
You could have someone else remodel your home, but then you'd have to live in it. Call KM Builders at 680-KMCO.
This is Ticket 760, KTKR San Antonio, your home for sports. Guaranteed human. Make us the #1 preset in your car and on the free new and improved iHeartRadio app. This is the starting lineup. Here's your host, Carl Schoening.
Hour 2 of the starting lineup, and spoiler alert, is going to be Spurs and Thunder heavy. I'm your host, Carl Schoening. LG is our technical director. A 2-man starting lineup today on Ticket 760. Maybe you're watching us on YouTube. However you are joining us, we appreciate your time and interest in the program. We talk a lot of Spurs here, and last night the Spurs fall to the Thunder 122-113. It was a tough night for the Spurs in several ways. The officials really let Isaiah Hartenstein get physical with Victor Wembanyama, which led to a lot of frustration out on the social media spheres, and also kept Wemby out of the paint. He played a lot more of a perimeter game, put up 7 3-pointers in this second game of the series, where he only put up 2 3-pointers in the double overtime game 1. I think SGA bounced back, had a great performance, 30 points, 9 assists. You knew that he would rise to the occasion and make sure that Oklahoma City, or at least he did his best to make sure that Oklahoma City doesn't go back down to San Antonio, down 2-0. And it is an even series at a game apiece. I want to say that the Spurs only really need to clean up their turnovers, but it really is rough when the Spurs have a good shooting night like they did. 40% shooting from 3 and 15-17 from the free throw line. But the Thunder get to the free throw line 24 times, make 19 free throws, and they also get 17 second chance points on 17 offensive rebounds. Those are 2 big factors that create the separation in the ball game, and the Spurs, who turned the ball over 21 times, have the Thunder turn that into 27 points off turnovers, where the Spurs' points off turnovers was only 10 points off of 10 Oklahoma City turnovers. And get this, LG, because of all the offensive rebounds and the turnover difference, the Thunder put up 94 shots and the Spurs only put up 84 shots. So if you allow a team to shoot the ball 10 more times, just sort of law of averages means that they might have a chance to make more buckets than you. And though they do have more chances to make more buckets with you, there's a chance they make more buckets with you. And the 4 field goals made by Oklahoma City end up being the difference in this ball game. 122-113, the final score. Oklahoma City comes away with a 9-point win. We talk Spurs a lot on here, but I don't like always being the voice that talks. sometimes I think it's best to just hear it right from the players and the coaches that participated in the game. Victor Wembanyama spoke to the media after the game, and let's cue up and hear what Wemby had to say when talking to the press after this physical game.
What was it like for you guys, especially after you lose Dylan and now you're down 2 big ball handlers with him and Fox? What was the challenge like there, and how do you think you guys handled it?
Not well. We got to help our ball handlers more and take care of the ball.
Obviously, without De'Aaron, it's going to lend itself to turnover issues, but are there other factors that you guys can shore up to try to cut down on?
Yeah, of course, just consistency throughout the game in our game plan. Can think of a few down moments for myself, especially in the fourth quarter.
You and Hartenstein had some huge battles on the glass there. He was able to win a lot of those. But what was that battle like for you, and what do you think you guys can do better to not lose that way?
As I just said, it's all in the scouting. I have to trust the scouting. We have to trust it and do our work early. It's a straight effort.
What would you say is the most frustrating thing about tonight's loss?
I would say it's spending so much energy on catching back up to the score and then let it go away.
When you say it's straight effort, is it that simple, or are there some tactical, strategic kind of adjustments you can make?
What I mean is straight effort is like the tactics, we all know it by heart, but we have to, doesn't mean it's easy, and we have to work through it.
Like, what did you think of Steph's performance tonight and the way that he played through physicality?
His competitiveness is unmatched, and we definitely need that. He gets us out of a lot of tough situations.
De'Aaron's the one that is kind of the guy that controls the offense and settles you guys down a lot of the time. Yeah. When you don't have him, when you don't have Dylan, what do you try to do to keep things organized, controlled, and settled down?
We didn't do a great job at it today, but we need some poise for sure. Taking care of the ball, helping the main ball handlers, and being aggressive just like we were in the third quarter.
Victor, when it comes to guarding Shea, obviously you guys did a really good job of that in game one, and he had more points tonight. Is there any kind of balance there between wanting to keep his numbers down and understanding that he's a good player, he's going to make shots regardless of what you guys are doing?
Yeah, he makes shots, but nothing that he hasn't made all season. So we worked on it, and we just didn't apply as much.
That was Victor Wembanyama and his post-game thoughts. Appreciate you cutting that up for us, LG, taking out a lot of the pauses, whether it was the mic being handed off or Wemby thinking about how he was going to answer the questions. Victor Wembanyama finishes with 21 points, 17 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 blocks, and a steal. Ends up only officially committing 2 personal fouls, but the Spurs used both of their challenges in the first half to eliminate what are eventually overturned foul calls. And one time it was a foul on Wemby that they overturned to an offensive foul on Isaiah Hartenstein or something along those lines. I can't necessarily remember. They ended up turning it into a foul on Isaiah Hartenstein.
That's exactly what happened.
Yes.
And how many games that Tony Brothers is in are going to be criticized for the officiating? He's quickly becoming the Joey Crawford of today, because I feel like an official's name should not be known. When you become a character or famous in the NBA as an official, it's usually not for good things.
You're very right. Game 1, I couldn't tell you who officiated, and that's the goal. The officials are so good at their job that you don't notice who's officiating. Last night, Tony Brothers turned a blind eye to the way that Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren were playing Victor Wembanyama, and it comes down to, if the Spurs were to respond to that physicality, it wouldn't matter as much because they're going to call the fouls on SGA. And the way they call fouls on the guards versus how they call fouls on the big men is despairingly egregious. And I think that something we talked about in the first hour is that SGA said he didn't actually think that Isaiah Hartenstein's impact in this game was good. He made a huge impact in game 2. However, I think what he was alluding to was it maybe went a little overboard in several ways, and going into the rest of this series, Isaiah Hartenstein and the Thunder are going to be under close eye, and I certainly hope that is the case, because Victor Wembanyama is too important to the Spurs and too important to the NBA to allow him to be limited by what is letter of the law fouls, holding, hooking, things that'll probably get Wemby injured the more they allow it to go. You keep rolling those dice, and eventually you're going to lead to things getting hurt, and the officials need to understand that. I'm sure the Spurs are explaining that because after every playoff game, both teams are going to be sending in their objections to the league for the league to review and go over with the officiating crews, and we'll see how they change the way the game is played. But I'm pretty confident that the Spurs are going to get more of those calls in their favor when the series shifts back to San Antonio tomorrow night at the Frost Bank Center.
Yeah, and we got some chats in here responding to what we're talking about right now. Shout out to Kaner, who just subscribed on YouTube. We are broadcasting live at Starting Lineup Live on YouTube. Kaner's in here. He says, it's like 90s basketball, but stepping on one player's foot and pulling hair are not 90s. He's referring to Chet Holmgren, where he purposely stepped on Wemby's foot at the free throw line to prevent Wemby from getting the rebound in Game 1.
Yeah, and then he's also referring to Isaiah Hartenstein, who was caught red-handed pulling the hair of Steph Castle. I will say, only very slightly in Isaiah Hartenstein's defense, I think that his hand got caught up in Steph's whatever it is that he uses to hold his hair in place.
That's true, but I think he realized it and followed through and then clenched his fist and then pulled down as he realized his hand was caught in there and made it even worse than it should have been.
And it should have been a foul call. And
exactly.
Yeah, and there are plenty of those things where it should have been a foul call. I know that a lot of Spurs fans want to call a missed call on the over and back, that backcourt violation that Steph had.
And it wasn't. If you look at the replay, the ball doesn't touch the line.
But I will say, and I need to watch it again, I think there might have been a backcourt violation moments before that. And that's just on Steph dribbling right into a trap. And of Steph Castle's 9 turnovers, I think that one's one of the rougher ones to take because maybe it wasn't a backcourt violation before, and then it definitely wasn't when it was called.
Another missed call was Steph Castle's posterizing dunk on Hartenstein, where if you watch the replay, Hartenstein has a fistful of Steph Castle's jersey the entire time he's doing the dunk. And in my eyes, that's a foul.
And that's the dunk of the year. I don't think there was a better dunk all season long. That was outrageous. Steph Castle gave us in-game dunk contest with that poster, and that was one of the highlights of the night. Like, I'm not going to say it makes up for the loss, but
yeah, there was definitely wind-up, follow-through, and intent on that dunk.
Yeah, that dunk was flagrant, and I enjoyed that. But, you know, all things being considered, Oklahoma City wins this game, not necessarily because they win the game, but because the Spurs are down 2 of their best players. I think if Dylan Harper is able to finish that game, he was a +6 in his 25 minutes up until he leaves with a right leg injury and did not finish the game. He had 6 points, 3 assists, 2 rebounds, and was 5 of 10 from the field. I feel like Dylan Harper gives the Spurs that extra bit of juice and playmaking ability and defense that they were missing to close out the game. The Spurs were able to tie it up at 69, and Oklahoma City goes on a run. The Spurs got within 6 points a couple times down the stretch, but end up losing this one 122-113. Game 3 tomorrow night, looking for the series lead again. The Spurs get to do it at the friendly confines of the Frost Bank Center. I'll be on the broadcast with Dan Weiss. Spurs Radio Game Night is at 7 o'clock. Tip-off 7:30. Dylan Emery gets you rolling on WOAI's local pregame show, Spurs Countdown, at 6:30. And not only will it be rocking at the Frost Bank Center, I am sure that the Spurs fans are going to do their work early, trying to influence the officials to call whatever they can to try and help out the Spurs, who are dealing with what I thought was the short end of the whistle on Game 2. But series evens up at a game apiece, and things will be done. No, I wasn't talking to you, phone. My phone thought that I said the other thing instead of Series. You can guess. I have an iPhone, so I need to turn that off. Hopefully nobody heard the little chime go out over the radio. 122-113 final score. Oklahoma City defeats San Antonio last night in Game 2. Want to hear from Mitch Johnson after the game as well, so we'll get to that sound when we come back here on the starting lineup on Ticket 760. Kids grow faster than paychecks and somehow need a whole new wardrobe every 6 months. Tiny Little Financial Consultants with juice boxes. At Kid to Kid Huebner Road, you can buy and sell gently used kids' clothes, toys, baby gear, shoes, cleats, and even score pro and college fan gear for your future MVP. Kid to Kid buys size preemie through 20 youth and pay cash or 20% or more in-store credit. Save money, clear the clutter, and shop sustainably. Located at Huebner and Northwest Military. Follow at Kid to Kid Huebner Road on Instagram. Kid to Kid Huebner Road. Buy, sell, save.
We've all been there. You start a DIY project thinking it'll be simple, but then something doesn't look right or doesn't work at all. I'm George Salinas with Absolute Power. Whether you're just getting started, halfway through, or realizing a project's gone a little sideways, we're here to help. From small fixes to big electrical repairs, we step in and get you back on track. Call today at 210-904-1521 or visit absolute-pwr.com to schedule your free estimate. Absolute Power Electrical Contractors, at your service.
It's time to warm up that scoreboard and get ready to bring home the win with Specs. Specs has you covered with lower prices on all your favorite fan fuel. From craft beer, rare spirits, and world-class wine to chips, dips, and gourmet finer foods. And with same-day delivery when you order online or through the app, Specs is your MVP for the biggest score of the game. At Specs, the fun starts here.
Here's to you. Cheers to savings.
On Plus Nicotine Pouches present Comfort Chronicles. A 10 o'clock tea time. How comfortable. You show up in stretchy shorts, a breathable tee, and maybe no socks.
Let the dogs breathe.
While others sweat in pleated khakis, you're in your comfort zone bombing drives. And in your pocket, On Plus Nicotine Pouches. The softest pouch on the planet. Buy a can at onnicotine.com. Products for tobacco consumers 21 years of age or older. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Have you purchased your Connecticut Quality Water Softener yet? If not, what are you waiting for? You need to take advantage of this great offer right now. Interest-free financing for 12 months and a free reverse osmosis system. So you don't have to pay any interest for a year, and you get great tasting water right there at your kitchen sink. Have you ever opened up the dishwasher and seen a lot of spots and looking like your dishes aren't that clean? That is hard water. Same can go for your clothes when they come out of the washing machine. Same can come for yourself when you get out of the shower. And the money that you spend on a Connecticut Quality Water Softener, you're likely going to save because you're not going to have repair bills trying to fix or replace your appliances, and you're not going to have to call a plumber all the time because of all that bad water going through your pipes. It's an amazing offer. Interest-free financing for 12 months, a free reverse osmosis system. When you purchase a Connecticut Quality Water Softener, it's the best and last water softener you're ever going to own. Call them today at 656-PURE, 656-7873. Love your water. Get a Connecticut Quality Water Softener, ConnecticutSA.com.
An accident can leave you struggling to pay for medical bills. At Thomas J. Henry, we believe you deserve justice no matter your financial situation. That's why you don't pay us unless we win your case. Thomas J. Henry, the name you know, the firm you trust. San Antonio, Texas.
Are you running for office and have a message you want every voter in your district to hear? Well, that's where radio comes in. Radio is your direct line to morning commuters, midday grinders, and late nighters. Radio puts your message right where your voters are. Plus, it's 1/10 the time and cost of video. Don't just campaign. Connect with millions all over the country. Even thousands in the smallest communities with radio. Call now and be on air in just 48 hours. 844-844-iHeart. That's 844-844-iHeart.
Hey guys, it's us, the Jonas Brothers. I'm Joe.
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Nick. And guess what? We created our own podcast called Hey Jonas.
We invented a podcast?
Well, we didn't invent it. We just contributed to it.
We're the first people to do podcasts. We get to ask other people questions because we're sick and tired of being asked questions.
Well, sick and tired is a strong way to put it, but you know.
Tired and sick.
Tired and sick.
Listen to Hey Jonas on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Follow Hey Jonas and start listening on the free iHeartRadio app today.
Standing up for what's right. Helping out when things go wrong. Seeking the truth and speaking our minds. Not just making records, but breaking them. Leading the way behind the camera, beyond the runway, and on the silver screen. Not just making our mark, but making a difference. Now that's a job for a Girl Scout. Girl Scouts, preparing girls for a lifetime of leadership.
He didn't make the team, but he's in our starting lineup. Back to Carl Schoening.
Starting lineup on Ticket 760, Hour 2 rolls on here before we eventually get into Dan Patrick, one of the most listened to radio shows in town, Dan Patrick. So,
oh, that's interesting because he has to follow us. I wonder how he gets all those listeners.
I know. I appreciate anybody that might be tuning into us. In fact, ratings came out yesterday. I meant to look at them, so hopefully that's still the case. I'm Carl Schoening. He's LG. Happy you guys tuned in. LG does a great job cutting up audio, and we here on the starting lineup know that the other starters are the people that you actually care about. Mitch Johnson is one of those people you actually care about, head coach of your San Antonio Spurs. After the Spurs fall to the Thunder last night, 122-113. I want to hear from Mitch Johnson and what he thought about last night's game between the Spurs and the Thunders. Here's Mitch and his post-game thoughts.
Whatever update you got on Dylan, what happened to him, and why he could not return to the game?
I have not had an update. Just, excuse me. Just know he went out when he took an awkward landing. I guess I don't even know if he fell, but that awkward landing. And I just heard he wasn't coming back. I haven't got an update yet.
It seems pretty obvious, but, down Fox, then Harper's out. What kind of pressure does that put on the rest of your backcourt in a game like this?
A ton. Obviously this team is as good as anybody at turning you over. So when you're down some of your primary creators and initiators, it causes a little bit of an extra strain, whether that's who to play, what to run, et cetera. And we'll just have to be sharper in that area because it's tough, fully loaded against these guys. So we obviously 27 points off turnovers is not a winning formula.
Mitch, we hadn't talked to you since the announcement about Fox pregame. Is that a situation where it's like you said before the game, it's going to be the world you're living in now? But is that a situation where he could have played if you pushed him today, or I guess how serious is that injury?
Honestly, he's just trying to play every day. It's a tough injury that he wouldn't be playing with in the regular season, so he's trying to tough it out, and he did that in Minnesota, and then had an awkward landing, and so he re-aggravated it, and we just got to make sure that he's in a place that he can be out there and compete to the level that he would need to in the game that we're playing.
And then I guess as a corollary to those two questions, Steph has been going through some turnover issues. What can you do to kind of address that?
We've addressed it, and we'll continue to, just in terms of trying to help him with some of his reads, especially when he's tired, whether it's playing more off 2 feet or getting off the ball, earlier with the early pass and just letting the ball find the open man. They do such a great job of showing crowds in the paint, having multiple bodies, and so it's not just Steph. He had too many turnovers, but our whole team did, and so we have to continue to not fight that moment of the game where they're going to make you pass the ball at times. And when you have those situations, you got to be able to connect with your teammate, because if you do, you go from playing in the crowd to then more than likely getting one of your teammates the basketball with an advantageous opportunity in terms of closeouts or catch shot threes.
Even with the turnovers for Steph tonight, what did you think of his performance and the way he was able to play through the circumstances and the physicality that the Thunder played with tonight?
Yeah, he's a warrior. He's out there giving it all he's got. I think that when he doesn't pass the ball earlier, he misses a teammate. It's out of him being competitive and trying to make a play and be aggressive, and there's a lot of things going on. And he's shown that, in the 2 years that he's been with us. He's a hell of a passer and a hell of a creator, and we got to continue to help him as he's asked to guard on one end and then create that much, especially without Fox and then Harper. That's quite an output energy-wise, and so it's something that he'll be better at, and we'll be better for him to try to help him where we don't have to put maybe that much strain on him.
Mitch, you got guys on both sides already banged up, going down, leaving the floor. How much of this, after 2 games, do you feel like is going to be a war of attrition, just with the two teams, the way they play and just how tight everything seems to be.
Yeah, it feels like that's always at this time of the season in every sport, right? You have to get to the end to give yourself a chance. And I think, again, that's why we have to continue to trust our depth, and guys have to step up and when their name's called, answer the bell and be able to give us some quality minutes. And then as you do get tired and the physicality heightens and the intensity is ever so present, you got to execute. And so there's something there where there's a mental, a physical, and an emotional challenge, I guess you could say. And you have to be able to do that in the micro every possession and then in the macro in terms of the totality of how you have a disposition and work a game for 48 minutes.
On that note, Coach, what did you see from Jordan tonight, the way that he was kind of thrown into the fire? You mentioned just giving good minutes and spurts wherever he can.
Yeah, Jordan's done that for us all year. He's done a great job of being ready when his name's called. Very smart basketball player, knows how to execute and give us toughness, and he was great for us tonight.
That was head coach Mitch Johnson in his post-game thoughts after the Spurs fall to the Thunder 122-113 in Game 2 last night, even up the series a game apiece. And obviously a lot of the questions revolving around his two all-star caliber guards, one actually making the all-star team, De'Aaron Fox, and Dylan Harper, officially named first team All-NBA, All-Rookie team, I should say, All-Rookie NBA first team, Dylan Harper. Congratulations to him. Rough way for that night to be celebrated, as both of those guards change this game if they can actually play the full game. I think Harper was having a good game and was well on his way to a 20-plus point night, but leaves in that second half and doesn't come back with a right leg injury. I saw that Michael C. Wright put out a story saying that they will get an MRI on that, which I think the most encouraging sign was based off the clips going around. I was listening to Dan Weiss on the broadcast and not Mike Tirico, but the television broadcast showed that Dylan Harper tried to come back to the Spurs bench, wanted to say that he was good to go, and Spurs staffers said, no, let's make sure that you're okay for the rest of the series, and he was ruled out shortly after trying to go back to the Spurs bench, as shown on the television broadcast. And obviously, De'Aaron Fox, that sucks. That was the Ayo Dosunmu diving play that I think we all thought that Fox were lucky he would not suffer a major injury on. And he, as Mitch said, tried to go through it in Minnesota in that Game 6 on Friday night of last week. He'll have a whole week off, but sometimes those high ankle sprains, there's nothing you can really do about it. And, Fox, just like Dylan Harper, it's one of those things where you got to consider their future sometimes too. Can't just say, hey, go out there and play on one leg and maybe make an injury worse or get another injury out of overcompensating to protect the current one. So
yeah, and as much as Spurs fans like to use De'Aaron Fox as a scapegoat when things are going bad, and they like to call Keldon Johnson the heart and soul of the team, Fox is the heart and soul of this team. He controls the pace of this offense, and you can clearly see that the Spurs play at a much slower pace. They don't get into the paint. They don't touch the paint as often as they do when De'Aaron Fox is at the point guard position. And now with Dylan Harper out, you really have nobody that's going to push the pace as quick as Fox and Harper would. Castle can push the pace a little bit, but he's not on the level of speed as those two point guards are. And also, missing Harper, or putting Harper in the starting lineup, creates a big void on the bench. Keldon Johnson, the reigning sixth man of the year, only had 10 points last night. Yes, he had some clutch three-pointers down the stretch, but he didn't play well for the entire game, and he hasn't really played well these entire playoffs. Dylan Harper has been basically the sixth man off the bench, so the bench needs to step up, whether it's Keldon Johnson, whether it's Luke Cornett, whether it's McLaughlin. Somebody needs to be producing off the bench with the injuries we have.
Absolutely, and it's just one of those things where on the other side for Oklahoma City, I hope that J-Dub is okay. He only plays 7 minutes, and he had to leave the game with a hamstring. And I don't think either team will say they won or lost because of injuries, because both teams are banged up. But I certainly do think that it's not as much fun when both teams have injuries. But you're right. I think that maybe Dylan Harper should come off of the bench and just to separate the ball handler minutes a little bit, maybe give Harrison Barnes or Carter Bryant that starting sort of two-guard role. But the Spurs offense has very much been predicated on having two ball handlers on the court at any given time. It helps the offense a lot drastically, obviously. But, Steph Castle, I made this comparison in the first hour if you missed it. He is a Russell Westbrook type. You're going to have to live with his turnovers because he can get some very dynamic playmaking passes off. He's going to play downhill, play above the rim, use his athleticism, use his skills around the paint. I love Steph Castle, and I'm tired of people hitting me up and saying that, he's hurting the Spurs with his turnovers. Sure, that's true. But the Spurs as a team commit 21 turnovers, 9 of them coming from Castle. But overall, the Spurs with 21 turnovers and the Thunder score 27 points off those turnovers. When you have a disparity like that, it is an uphill battle for sure. Several other things that, hurt the Spurs in that game last night. But you try to brush it off. You hope everybody's okay and they can play Friday night in San Antonio. That would be phenomenal if Harper's all good to go, just with a little bit of a tweak that he can brush off and play in Game 3. Hopefully the same for D. Fox. Hopefully a week off is enough for him to get back on the court. And hopefully the Spurs can come away with 2 wins this weekend in San Antonio. We haven't had a weekend playoff game in a while in San Antonio. So looking forward to seeing how the Spurs bounce back in Game 3. Hopefully the fans are raucous and give the Spurs the needed edge in the third game. I do want to hear from Steph Castle a little bit later on in the show. I also want to touch on something that sort of grew legs after talking about it. Jay Kidd out as the Mavericks head coach. Get in a little bit more detail of that one since I only briefly touched on it yesterday. Talk about that as we love the NBA here on the starting lineup on Ticket 760.
Spurs Insider. Brought to you by South Padre Island.
Stephon Castle poured in 25 points, leading 3 players with 20-point nights, but the Spurs fell to the Thunder 122-113 in Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals Wednesday at the Paycom Center in Oklahoma City. Devin Vassell scored a playoff career-high 22 points, while Victor Wembanyama registered a double-double with 21 points, 17 rebounds, and 4 block shots. Series now shifts to San Antonio, tied at a game apiece for Friday's Game 3. Tip time's at 7:30. Spurs Radio 1200 WOAI.
Summer vibes on. South Padre Island is the perfect family escape. Step out of your comfort zone and order anything but the regular. Maybe you'll catch a show.
3, 2, 1.
You're gonna need a beach day, nature day, fishing day, and definitely a water slide day. South Padre Island has plenty to do for the whole family. Make it a South Padre summer. Book today.
Right now, you're one of thousands tuned into this station. Locked in, fired up, and ready to talk Spurs, Cowboys, and everything in between. That's the unbeatable power of live radio. It reaches you instantly, and you can't scroll past it. Plus, we're streaming and growing on social media. The starting lineup is looking for sponsors who want direct access to this passionate audience. And when you join us, you get professional social media production included. Content created for your business. Shoot us an email right now at thestartinglineupshow@gmail.com. Team up with the starting lineup on Ticket 760.
Does your car or truck start smoothly? Do you have any hesitation problems when you hit the gas? A BG Platinum 44K fuel system cleaner will take care of that. It'll clean the entire fuel system. It'll restore your engine's performance and reduce exhaust emissions. You'll have no power loss when you go up that hill. A BG Platinum 44K fuel system cleaner is rated #1 among automotive professionals. Be good to your car. Add BG Platinum 44K to your tank after every oil change. To find a BG professional, visit bgfindashop.com today.
President Trump doesn't trust backstabbing rhino Chip Roy because Chip Roy betrayed MAGA. Roy backed Liz Cheney and pushed to impeach President Trump.
The President of the United States deserves universal condemnation for impeachable conduct.
Then Chip Roy helped illegal aliens avoid deportation. And Roy even supported perverts and predators by siding with Gavin Newsom and the trans lobby to push transgender surgeries for children. When we fought back, Roy told MAGA voters, "You can kiss my ass." MAGA Mays Middleton stood with President Trump against perverts and predators, stopped radical transgender surgeries for kids, banned men from girls' sports, kicked trans perverts out of women's restrooms, and MAGA Mays banned radical Muslim groups from buying property in Texas and is stopping Sharia law in Islamic enclaves. That's why President Trump called Mays a MAGA champion with a conservative record that is second to none. MAGA Mays Middleton for Texas Attorney General.
Political ad paid for by the Mays Middleton campaign.
Hey guys, do you want male performance in the bedroom and do you want it now? Get it in 47 seconds or less. For the first time, you can have instant male enhancement. Introducing Knox 47, the topical male enhancement that works in 47 seconds or less. Satisfaction guaranteed. Finally, after years of scientific research, our proprietary formula will allow you to perform in the bedroom like never before. Just imagine that little blue pill on steroids. No reason to settle and wait when you can get instant performance now. Forget about pills and potions that make you wait hours or up to 30 days to work. That's yesterday's news. Knox 47 is brand new. The hottest thing for men. And you don't need a prescription. Call now and get your free supply for a limited time.
To find out how to get Knox 47 for free, call now. 800-677-1453. That's 800-677-1453. Free bottles for limited time. Call 800-677-1453. That's 800-677-1453.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
Stop dreaming and start fishing. Memorial Weekend to Labor Day. Fish all summer with the CCA Star Tournament. Reel in one of over $2 million in prizes and scholarships. Catch a tagged redfish to win a Ford F-150 truck and boat package. 10 divisions in all. Real people win real prizes. Sponsored by Texas Ford Dealers, Academy Sports and Outdoors, and Progressive Insurance, Haney Boats, and Mercury Marine. Sign up at startournament.org. Sign up now.
Silver and black and no excuses. Start your day with a starting lineup.
No excuses for the silver and black last night, but certainly some reasons why the Spurs were unable to come away with the victory. Among those reasons, their two ball-handling guards in De'Aaron Fox and Dylan Harper were unable to play the entirety of the game. D. Fox out for the second consecutive game with an ankle injury, and Dylan Harper leaves the game after playing 25 minutes with a right leg injury. Hopefully both of them will be good to go for Game 3. This is the starting lineup. I'm your host, Carl Schoening, LG, making sure we look good on YouTube, sound good over the radio, and you can interact with the show in a multitude of ways. Among them is hitting me up on Twitter or Instagram at OnAirCarl. That is Carl with a K, at OnAir, Karl. They call me Bob is in here, and he says, yep, the Spurs still had a chance to win. 90s b-ball, don't depend on the refs. Bring a level of physicality, get in the paint, no turnovers, hashtag Go Spurs Go. Appreciate you, Bob, helping me out with the show. Yeah, you know, it seems like, unfortunately, for better or for worse, and for better for Oklahoma City, again, no excuses. They are not going to call those fouls, or at least it seems like for last night they did not call those fouls on Isaiah Hartenstein. So many clips of him holding Wemby back. And if he's allowed to play basketball where he's not getting hooked and held, then Wemby probably has a bigger night than his 17 rebounds, 21 points, 6 assists, and 4 blocks. LG, other people are involved in the show, right?
Yes, sir. Marco Polo's up in here on the YouTube chat. We are broadcasting live on YouTube at Starting Lineup Live. Give us a subscription there. He says the NBA needs to look at and do something about the defense on Wemby. It obviously started with the T-Wolves and now OKC. Wemby is absolutely getting mauled and held down low and no whistle. Exactly, Marco Polo. We've been talking about that all show long. And if you look at the defensive highlights of Hartenstein, it's all fouls. Every single one of them.
It feels like the Jordan rules, like the 90s Bad Boys Pistons just beating up Michael Jordan. And eventually that led to the creation of flagrant fouls because the NBA was protecting their star player in Michael Jordan, much like how they should protect Victor Wembanyama.
And every player, not just Victor Wembanyama, every single player should get the same whistle. It shouldn't be favoritism for anybody.
Absolutely. And the officials need to basically have a fourth official that keeps an eye on Victor Wembanyama and how he's being officiated. It's obviously harder.
How about we get an official that officiates the officials?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah. How about a flagrant on the officials for missing calls?
The officials definitely did not help the Spurs out last night, but the Spurs also didn't help themselves with all of the turnovers.
Yep, and we've got some more comments in here in Buy Me a Coffee. Chris Silva purchased us 3 coffees. Appreciate you, Chris. He says, great job. Keep it up, guys. But we need more devil's advocate in here. Can't win both games. If the Spurs can't win both games at home, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. Need everyone from the CEO to the equipment manager to take a look in the mirror and win these next 2 games. These opportunities are not guaranteed. Injuries play a big part, as we see.
Yeah, and
you're
really,
correct, Chris.
Yeah, and somebody that we want to hear from that is basically tasked with, especially if Harper and Fox can't go in Game 3, Steph Castle is going to be tasked to be the primary ball handler 100% of the time, or at least somewhere around 85+% of the time. He finishes with 8 assists but 9 turnovers last night. And here's what Steph had to say after the game. We're just going to play a few minutes here before we wrap up this segment, but I did want to get to Castle and his post-game thoughts.
Obviously, with Dillon out, you're handling the ball more than ever. Are there other factors that go into the turnovers? Is there anything you guys need to tighten up just all the way around offensively?
I think it's more personal on my end, just really speeding myself up. Not allowing our screeners to get hits. So it's like it's putting me in a position where I have to play fast, or my screener might get an offensive foul. So I put us at a disadvantage to start the game with those. But, some of it comes with fatigue. But, at this point of the season, it's really no excuse. So,
Steph, I know you guys don't use injuries as excuses for anything that happens, but, what are the differences between – you guys have had experience playing without your key guys. What's the difference between going into a game knowing that they're going to be out versus, losing a player midway through a game like Dillon tonight?
It's tough. Regardless, I think the 5 guys on the court are, pretty much connected at all times. Obviously we want all of our guys to be healthy and be on the court. But, just to see somebody go out mid-game kind of gives you a little bit more, motivation to kind of do it for them. But I feel like coming into the game, we kind of had the same mindset, with Fox out. So, obviously one person can't make up for what Fox or, somebody else can't make up for what, Dill brings for us. So, just trying to do it as a team.
Steph, Wallace was pressing you.
That was Steph Castle and his post-game thoughts after having 25 points to lead the Spurs in scoring. But just a tough night for Castle as he is tasked to be the primary ball handler to close out the game. I do want to give a shout-out to Jordan McLaughlin, who came in and played well enough. He knocks down 2 threes in his 7 minutes. He has 6 points, but McLaughlin's just a spot-up shooter on the offensive side of the ball. He can put the ball on the floor a little bit, but he's certainly nowhere near a Dillon Harper-level player.
He's a defensive liability as well.
Yeah, I was about to say, on either side of the court, he is not a primary defender kind of player. He is what he is. He is a guy that is at the end of the bench, and he provides shooting to space the floor sometimes. He gave Wemby some space. They dug off of McLaughlin for one of those threes that I can remember. I remember the other 3, but I can't quite remember the entirety of the play. But, J-Mac is somebody who he is the role he plays. He came in and he did a good job playing his role, but unfortunately, his role is significantly less important than a De'Aaron Fox and a Dillon Harper. And He can sort of be a calming presence, calming the ball down and slowing down the pace a little bit, but the Spurs should actually try and speed up the game. Harper not being able to play, Fox not being able to play really hurt the Spurs last night. Carter Bryant, I believe, is somebody who just had probably his worst playoff game in terms of just stats, zeros across the board, minus 10 on his time on the court. So I think he's going to have a bounce back game. I think Harrison Barnes, maybe if Dylan Harper can't go, could be somebody who's inserted into the starting lineup. We'll have to see how the Spurs handle that should their guys not be able to go in Game 3 tomorrow. Hopefully they can. We'll have to talk about that a little bit more tomorrow in the preview for Game 3 as the series shifts back to San Antonio. A little bit of a frustrating night, but we'll get over it. We bounce back. We talk about something, I guess, maybe a little schadenfreude towards the Dallas Mavericks and their new situation as they try to just part ways with anybody involved in the Luka era, apparently. A little bit more fallout that's been interesting on the Jason Kidd parting ways with the Dallas Mavericks. We'll talk about it here on the starting lineup to wrap up the 7 o'clock hour on Ticket 760. Spurs fans, it's playoff time in San Antonio. Get in the spirit with Swish, a new Spurs-themed song produced by Warchief featuring Troy Matthews, Big Roddy, and Ice Villa. The perfect soundtrack for this playoff run.
Watch for Wemby in the middle as he's leading all the blocks, giving go for Sella Barnes as they beat the shot clock.
Streaming now on all platforms. Swish by the Warchief. And as always, go Spurs go.
On Plus Nicotine Pouches present Comfort Chronicles. A 10 o'clock tea time. How comfortable. You show up in stretchy shorts, a breathable tee, and maybe no socks.
Let the dogs breathe.
While others sweat in pleated khakis, you're in your comfort zone bombing drives. And in your pocket, On Plus Nicotine Pouches. The softest pouch on the planet. Buy a can at onnicotine.com. Products for tobacco consumers 21 years of age or older. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
I'm Dr. Jason Garrett with Arasti. For nearly 20 years, I've helped patients recover from pain and injuries quickly. And that includes some of the best in the game, like Tony Parker and many professional and Olympic athletes. At Arasti, we find the root cause of your pain and fix it fast. Most patients resolve their pain in just 3 to 4 visits. No long treatment plans, no gimmicks, just results. So whether you're a pro athlete or just want to get back to what you love, visit Arasti.com and schedule now. That's AIRROSTI.com. We fix pain fast.
I know what you want. A great experience when getting your new vehicle, hassle-free and upfront pricing, and we promise that at World Car Hyundai. Right now, get 0% financing on 2026 Hyundai Tucsons and Santa Fe's, plus no payments for 90 days. We have low rates on Elantras and Palisades too. Plus, every new vehicle comes with America's Best 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty and Hyundai Owner's Assurance. Shop online at World Car Hyundai North or WorldCarHyundaiSouth.com and experience the difference for yourself. World Car, for a lifetime.
With approved credit through HMF. When it comes to results, the numbers speak for themselves. Thomas J. Henry secured over $1 billion for clients in the past 4 years and successfully represented thousands of injured Texans. Thomas J. Henry, the name you know, the firm you trust. San Antonio, Texas.
Proud to make Pops proud. Proud to be Proud Pops.
I'm Brandon Rackler, co-founder of Proud Pops Plumbing, Air, and Electric.
And I'm Jacob Magby, the other co-founder and also co-brother.
With air conditioning season here already, homeowners are wondering if that old AC that barely made it through last summer is ready to handle this summer.
But no one wants to buy a new AC if the old one can be fixed up. Good as new.
As Pops used to say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
To be fair, quite a lot of people say that.
Yeah, but when Pops said it, he meant don't pressure people into an expensive replacement when the AC they have still has a few good years left in the hands of the right serviceman.
Call Proud Pops and we'll assess the situation and give you a Pops proof report with a plethora of pictures that clearly show what needs to be done.
As Pops used to say, a picture is worth 1,000 words.
Literally everyone says a picture is worth 1,000 words.
Proud to make Pops proud. Proud to be Proud Pops.
Give us a call and we'll pop in.
Visit proudpops.com.
That first summer trip sets the tone for the entire season. You don't just want to pack for it, you want to arrive. That's why I came to Macy's. I found everything I needed all in one place. Designer sunglasses, the right linen cover-up, exclusive brands you can only find here. Plus, with up to 60% off, I'm feeling ready to step into summer. Start your summer with confidence. Take 25 to 60% off at Macy's Memorial Day sale today.
Hi, it's Mr. T. San Antonio RVs. They are a locally owned company. That's right, they're a mom and pop. And if you're looking for a new RV, a pampered pre-owned, whether it's a big one, a small one, you need a 4-person RV, you need an 8-person RV, whatever you need, San Antonio RVs can help you out. Sales, consignment, service, SanAntonioRVs.com. That is the place to find out everything you need to know about RVs. And don't forget to check about the warranty forever that comes with every RV purchased at San Antonio RVs.
Kids grow faster than paychecks and somehow need a whole new wardrobe every 6 months. Tiny little financial consultants with juice boxes. At Kid to Kid Hebner Road, you can buy and sell gently used kids' clothes, toys, baby gear, shoes, cleats, and even score pro and college fan gear for your future MVP. Kid to Kid buys size preemie through 20 youth and pay cash or 20% or more in store credit. Save money, clear the clutter, and shop sustainably. Located at Hebner and Northwest Military. Follow at Kid to Kid Hebner Road on Instagram. Kid to Kid Hebner Road. Buy, sell, save.
He bleeds silver and black. Back to Carl Schoening in the starting lineup.
Wrapping up the starting lineup on a Thursday edition here in San Antonio, Texas. I'm Carl Schoening, LG in the starting lineup with me. Big shout out to Kid Hebner Road. I am nowhere near having a kid or knowing anything about that, but I do have a friend who just had a baby, and I let her know about Kid Hebner, and she did not know about them, and now she does, and she will be going to them. So, just the power of advertising. I don't know about Kid to Kid. I learn about Kid Hebner, and I tell a friend about Kid Hebner who could use it, and, the advertising starts the word of mouth that leads to clients and customers that come out. So if you want to get your business promoted here on the starting lineup, you can reach out to us in a plethora of ways. One of them being on Twitter. I am at On Air Carl. I'm also On Air Carl on Instagram. LG is at DJLG210. And LG, I asked you a question yesterday when we were talking about this whole Jason Kidd situation. You gave me the wrong answer. So I want to see if you have had a little bit more time to think about the answer. If you were guaranteed $40+ million over the next 4 years to not do a job, what would you do? Your answer was nothing, and that is wrong. You would be doing something with that money. Have you thought any more about it?
Yeah, I mean, I would be traveling the world.
Yeah. No, I get it. And, I wonder what Jason Kidd is going to be doing because...
I'd be planning my early retirement. That's what I would be doing.
It's one of those things where Jay Kidd could probably get another coaching job, but I just wonder why. If you have that kind of guaranteed money, he obviously made a lot of money when it comes to his playing career, although... probably not quite as much as you would think for somebody who's an all-time caliber player like Jay Kidd. He did not make as much money as they're just making now standard contracts. Like the average NBA player is probably making more than he made in his career as somebody who played in the 90s and into the 2010s. But Jason Kidd, he has been a head coach for several years. He's been to the finals, and interesting thing that came out about this story. By the way, my answer to that is just like you, I'd probably travel. I don't know anything about Aruba except it's a fun name to say, and I would probably spend at least a weekend in Aruba if I had $40 million coming to me over 4 years.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, I mean...
Might as well buy a vacation home there while you're at it.
Yeah, is that a place you buy a vacation home?
Sure,
yeah,
I wouldn't, but many people probably do.
I'd rent. I'd probably rent. I don't need to buy, a home any of these places that I would just want to visit for a weekend, maybe 2 weeks at the most. But interesting thing that came here. Years ago, a Nike executive told a guy who goes on Twitter as Spooky by the Door, BC. He said, years ago, a Nike exec told me that Jay Kidd is going to get fired from every coaching job he gets because for as good as he is at X's and O's and player development, over time he becomes insufferable and his personality starts to weigh on people. I don't know who Spooky by the Door is, but I do know who Michael Carter Williams is. He's somebody who won Rookie of the Year with the Philadelphia 76ers the first year of the process, proceeds to have a decent NBA career. I don't have his career page in front of me, but he tweets out with that tweet, I've been trying to tell people this for 10 years now. Truth always prevails. So the Nike executive could have possibly been Nico Harrison. We'll leave it at that. Nico Harrison was the Nike executive who eventually became the GM of the Mavericks, who traded Luka Doncic. Masai Ujiri replaces Nico Harrison, and Masai Ujiri did a great job building some of the Denver Nuggets and eventually the Kawhi Leonard Toronto Raptor teams. And he is a well-respected executive in the NBA circle, so Masai Ujiri is a big pickup for the Dallas Mavericks. And shout out to Patrick Dumont, who it must be nice that it's a rounding error in his yearly financials that he's just going to allow Jason Kidd to have his 4-year, $40+ million contract just sort of go on his books so Masai Ujiri can bring in his own guy. We will see what happens with the Mavericks head coaching job. But yeah, if I'm Jason Kidd and things like this are coming out and, you know, you have all this money coming to you, the extension comes out, there might not really be an appealing job in the coaching circuit right now. Maybe the Magic. Does J. Kidd really want to just bounce on over to Orlando? I don't think so. We'll have to see what happens there because Jason Kidd, if I were you, go enjoy the $40 million. Maybe you come back as an executive or a TV personality, but man, you don't need to coach anymore. You don't need to take any of this nonsense from people that are putting down your name. Go be Jason Kidd. Have fun being a guy who doesn't have to work for the next 4 years because he has all this money coming to him. Congratulations to Jason Kidd on leaving that situation and not having to deal with the Mavericks rebuild, although it'll be a fun one and good for whatever coach gets to coach Cooper Flagg as he continues to develop in one of the young bright stars in the NBA. Dallas Mavericks, man. What a downfall from the finals just in 2024. That'll do it for the starting lineup today. Big shout out, thank you to LG for being the audio and video technician. Big thanks to him for cutting up all of the audio that we heard throughout the broadcast today and being my camera operator tonight for the Huddle graduation. I've been Carl Schoening. Dan Patrick is next here on Ticket 760. Have a good rest of your Thursday, everybody. Tomorrow we talk Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals here in San Antonio on the starting lineup.
This is San Antonio FC Insider, brought to you by Goodwill.
San Antonio FC has quickly become known for their shutdown defense, ranking first in the USL Championship with 5 clean sheets and conceding the 3rd fewest goals in the league. Goalkeeper Joey Perchuni currently has the 5th highest save percentage at 76.5% and the 2nd most saves at 25. Defender Mitch Tainer leads the back line with 43 clearances and 47 duels won, while center back Alex Cronali has made the USL Team of the Week 3 times this season for his brilliant defense. That stays SCFC Insider. I'm Katie Goodman.
When you